Alright guys, time for another cartridge comparison. 25-06 Remington versus the 257 Roberts. Both great coyote, whitetail, blacktail, pronghorn deer cartridges. They're going to kind of shoot pretty flat and pretty fast. From basically both of them run a 75 grain bullet to 120 grain bullet, no problem, and at pretty good accuracy. 25-06 is just a neck down 30-06, and originally was being wildcatted for a while until I believe right around 1969 it got taken over and put into some factory options. And as you can see here, 117 grain jacketed soft point bullet with BC of 388. You're not going to get a crazy high BC. You're going to get right around 3,000 feet per second out of it, down to 2,700 feet. It's just going to depend on your accuracy and what powders you're using. You can probably get a little more velocity, squeak it out, go above max grain, but I wouldn't recommend that. Stay inside the load data there. They're both great cartridges, and they both shoot the same bullet. The 25-06 is a long action, or the 257 is a short action. So you got a little bit more powder capacity with that 25-06. Now going into the 257 Roberts, this is also, they also use a 75 grain, basically up to 120 grain bullet, and they stabilize no problem. The 257 Roberts is basically a 7x57 cartridge, and it's neck down. And it's just a great little cartridge and a short action. And as you can see, it's another 117 jacketed bullet, same BC, because literally they shoot the same bullet, but you are going to be quite a bit slower. Right around 2,700 down to 2,300 is kind of what you're getting. So with a smaller case, you're going to get less powder, but they're both great rounds. The 257 is probably better for maybe for the youth or younger children to shoot, and 200 yards and in, 300 yards and in, where the 25-06 is going to be a little bit better for maybe some older kids, teenagers, and women that can handle a little bit more recoil, because it is, like I said, is in the long action 25-6s, so it's going to have a little bit more case capacity, which is going to have a little bit more recoil, it's going to have more powder, which is going to cause it to go a little bit faster. All right, let's get into the ballistics now. So when you're looking at this, you got the blue line is 257 Roberts, the green line is the 25-06, and they're both using the Hornady Boattail Soft Point Interlock bullet, which is a great hunting bullet. And as you can see, they're pretty close, dang near the same, about 120, 140 yards. But where you can see the 25-06, it starts to really start beating the 257 Roberts right around 240, 250 yards, where you can see that it's starting to drop off a little bit. So now looking at this chart, we can see again, blue is the 257 Roberts with the same bullet, and 25-06 is the green highlighted here with the exact same bullet. They're shooting the same bullet. So if you're 0 to 100 yards, your drop at 200 yards, it's pretty close, right? So your 257 Roberts is 3.8, and your 25-06 is 3.1. Where you start seeing the difference is like what I said, at 25, 300, 350 yards. So at 250 yards, you're at 8.1, and the 25-06 is 6.6. So about an inch and a half difference. But really where you start seeing is that 300-yard mark, 14.1, and the 25-06 is 11.7. And as you can see, it just goes more and more, and there becomes a gap. Like at 500 yards, it's a 10-inch difference in drop. And so where you're seeing is they're really close after 200 yards. 250 yards, pretty close. You're going to see a big difference, because you're not pushing as much velocity, and it's going to drop. So I mean, at 250 yards, they're both more than, or even at 300 yards, they're both more than capable of expending that bullet. The 25-06 is at 2305, and 257 Roberts is at 2125. So they're both more than capable of really hitting that target and expanding with good velocity still at 300 yards. And energy, The 300 yards, 257 Roberts is, you know, almost 1200. But the 25-06 is 1380. So it is eking out that 257 Roberts. I don't have any wind drift in here because really that's all variables that you're going to see in the field. This is all data that I can present to you in a controlled environment. And your time of flight, it's pretty dang close. I mean, this is all in milliseconds. At 300 yards, 371, 343. Really, at 300 yards, you're really not going to notice a difference. But that being said, these are two great cartridges that I think are underrated for this day, because you got all the other cartridges out there, the 6 Creedmoor, the 6.5 Creedmoor, all the Creedmoors out there these days. But you know, there is still these old cartridges that are still great and getting the job done. Like I said, 257 Roberts, great for youth. If they want to get out and shoot some pronghorn at 300 yards, no problem. I mean, the 25-06, same thing. It's just going to have a little bit more recoil. To me, I prefer the 25-06 Remington, but there ain't nothing wrong with the 257 Roberts. And that's just me. And I think for the next video, stay tuned. We're going to go 25-06 Remington versus 257 Weatherby. 257 Weatherby is going to win that race just because it's a Magnum cartridge. But we're gonna do a video of comparing them against each other. So stay tuned. I'll have that up in a few days or so. But I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below if you watch this long. And let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. Thanks. Take it easy.